Late last night, Donald Trump's Department of Justice made an incriminating admission to two federal judges in the Southern District, New York, about their failure to produce documents in compliance with the Epstein Transparency Act. Now, the Department of Justice was pretending that it was doing a very diligent job and that it was speaking with the survivors, although the survivors previously filed declarations saying that they are being completely left in the dark and mistreated by Donald Trump's DOJ. I'm hopeful that these judges will push back because, in my opinion, there is a fraud taking place before this court, but that's to be determined what these federal judges will do. So the Department of Justice sent the letter to two federal judges who are overseeing one, the Epstein case, and the other, the Ghislaine Maxwell case. And they had to undo certain protective orders in the respective criminal cases because the DOJ promised that they had to comply with the Epstein Transparency Act, which said all of the documents would be released by December 19th, and 15 days thereafter, under the Epstein Transparency Act, a report would be submitted to Congress detailing all of the redactions by the Department of Justice to confirm that it was in compliance with the Epstein Transparency Act. But we are now in January 28th, we're almost in February, and the DOJ has not complied, and brazenly. Here's the letter that they sent to Judge Berman and Judge Engelmeyer, the two federal judges. Dear Judge Berman and Engelmeyer, the department respectfully, don't you love when they start off saying respectfully and then they just confess to a crime? Because indeed it is a crime to violate the Epstein Transparency Act. The department respectfully submits this letter as an update to previous submissions to the court regarding the review and redactions of certain materials required to be published pursuant to the directives of H.R. 4405, the Epstein Transparency Act. So right there, they admit it's required to be produced, but they just omit that the date was December 19th. Must be nice where you're just like, yeah, the speed limit's 65, I was going 105, but whatever, it is what it is. They go on to say, the department continues to make substantial progress in its efforts to identify potentially responsive documents, review those documents, redact victim identifying information and privileged information, engage in quality control process, and prepare responsive documents for publication in accordance with the Act. So pause right there. Identify privileged information. The Epstein Transparency Act doesn't say that you could withhold privileged information. It just says the redactions that can be made are about the victims' names, the survivors' names, depiction of abuse, and other very private personal information like social security information. But that's it. There's no withholding on the basis of deliberative process privilege or executive privilege, because if you're going to claim a deliberative process privilege or an executive privilege and then use that to withhold documents, and you claim that there's no